Down lanes near Tonkawa, Oklahoma. We are east of the GPS test section 404088 also on this roadway. Picking up, we're into negative grade here, not too severe, around a little over 1%. We are also into an area where we're just about at grade, I would estimate, just looking at the natural profile and how the roadway sits in relation to that. It's very difficult to judge that just looking at plan profile sheets. You really have to have the cross sections to see that very well, and we don't have those. But what we do have is still some transverse cracking. Here's a moderate severity transverse crack. This will be the crack sealing section in here, and so that will have an opportunity really to evaluate how effective it is at preserving the pavement here where we have these moderate severity cracks. If we can seal them before they open up very much, then we may be able to distinguish an effect of coming out and performing that operation. Again, we have some more of these smaller cracks which have not worked their way across the lane yet, or halfway across it. And we still have, and you can pretty well see them just looking back from this area on down the test section, but the high severity transverse cracks where we often have some patching, as we do here. Looking on up ahead, you see where there is one, possibly two additional high severity transverse cracks here. Aside from these, I don't recall there being a whole lot of distress on this test section. We don't have the longitudinal cracking. It did not occur in here. I see some over in the inside lane, but again, we don't count that. This first one we saw is one that I'm calling a moderate severity. We're starting to get a little bit of faulting in there. It hasn't opened up to the point where we have any cracking associated with this in addition to it. That's a moderate severity transverse crack. Down beyond station 3, as you can see, we have one which I know is a high severity. As a matter of fact, if you look over there in the inside, concrete's been punched out of it today. That is really something. Where it came from, right there. It's what happens apparently is the water's getting in there and separating. Besides doing the other things I've mentioned, it's separating the surfacing course, the wearing course, from the Type A asphalt concrete that they used here underneath there, about 3-inch course of it, and it's actually popping it out of there, as it did in that case. It's hard to classify what that would be, whether you hate to call it all three things at once. The dominant distress in there would be the transverse crack, and so I'm noting it as that, and high severity patching in that area. Here's another of those moderate severity cracks, which is only about 2 feet long, going in a transverse direction. And you can see the opposite lane where a longitudinal crack has developed in the outer wheel path over there. Coming on to station 4, on up ahead around 4 plus 50, 55, something like that. We've got another transverse crack. Which is getting up close to the high severity category due to the faulting that's occurring, and you can see the cracking associated with it. It's all the way across there into the inside lane and across the inside shoulder. We've got another moderate or low severity transverse crack up here. We're just now approaching. I don't remember what I call that, one or the other. And then we're up at the end of the test section. And we've got a crack here right at the very end of it. I'm going ahead and counting this as within the test section. At least half of it is, so that's a moderate severity transverse crack, and you can see a longitudinal crack intersecting it in the inside wheel path over there. This ends the video for test section 40C3.